Bill Barr here. Now, this is May 3rd, 2023. So this was like ancient history for Bill Barr, apparently, because here's what he said with Geraldo Rivera. Let's listen.
He does not have the discipline. He does not have the ability for strategic thinking and linear thinking. It is a horror show when he's left to his own devices.
Never get out of bed again. Never get out of bed again. Never get out of bed again.
And so you may want his policies, but Trump will not deliver Trump policies. He will deliver chaos. He will always put
All right, so there's what he thought. Here's another clip of Bill Barr, what he thinks about Trump.
His own interests and gratifying his own ego ahead of everything else, including the country's interest. I think it's my duty to pick the person I...
So that was his view until yesterday. Okay, Cliff. Now, here's the thing, is that I actually said when Bill Barr was saying that Trump, I'm like, he's going to support Trump. Because I knew Trump was going to get nominated then. What Bill Barr was hoping is that he still had strings to pull in the Republican Party.
Yes.
And by him saying that, they would select someone else.
Well, it's no different than that chump Sununu, up in New Hampshire. Oh, my God, he's a danger.
I got a clip of him, too.
Vote for Nikki Haley. Oh, now I support, they all basically sit there and they say he's a danger. He's not cognitively functioning, which we can all tell as he sits there and goes, and does all his shit he's talking. That he doesn't have basic understanding of policies, that he doesn't have the emotional IQ to get along with anybody, that he is under Putin's influence. I mean, they say all sorts of things, and they're like, oh, but to me, it's the stupidest thing. I went after Sununu about this, oh, but he has an R next to his name, so I'll support it. I mean, if you could think of a dumber reason than that. Well, he's terrible in all these ways, but the other guy has a D next to his name and he has an R. So, yeah, I had no doubt Bill Barr would, and there's a whole bunch more of these guys.
Oh, yeah, Nikki Haley's going to do it.
Nikki Haley. Did you just say Haley? Yeah, Haley will in the end.
I think Chris Christie will in the end.
I think Chris Christie will too.
He will too. He'll wait until October.
Yeah, he'll wait until it can do him some more good.
Right, exactly.
But I don't believe for a second. And the only way Chris Christie is going and not doing it the way, let's say, John Kasich broke away and endorsed Biden is if he thinks somebody's making him a better deal to do it. If you think, all right, well, if I'm guaranteed a slot on CNN, getting paid this much money, and I'm guaranteed a book, and the only way it's all about personal interest. So the only way he breaks from Trump is if he thinks Trump will definitely lose, and he will benefit more from not doing it. Otherwise, he's right there.
Right. Well, here's what Bill Barr had to say about his support for Trump or not support for Trump, which it was in the past. But let's see what he said yesterday.
Including the country's interest. I think it's my duty to pick the person I think would do the least harm to the country. And in my mind, that's I will vote the Republican ticket. I will support the Republican ticket.
Hello, all you happy people.
All right.
He can't even look at you. He looks down, which, by the way, if you've ever learned anything about body language, you can tell that he's the shame, and he knows he's pathetic because he can't even look you in the eye and say, well, I think vote for Donald Trump and the Republican ticket.
Yeah, he can't even say his name. He can't even say his name. He's got to say the Republican ticket. And the reason why is because, Clip, this is the reason why. And I figured this out watching Bill Barr say this. It should have been obvious to most of us, but this morning I watched this clip, and I've come to the conclusion that when they say it's not a democracy, it's a republic, they now believe their own bullshit, right? They have finally been convinced of their own nonsense for decades and decades, and Bill Barr has been an integral part of this, is that they have thin-veiled their fascism as conservatism. Right, for decades and decades. Yeah. I mean, and there's no exception to this rule in the Republican Party. Mitt Romney, Liz Cheney, and McKinsinger, all these who act like they're anti-Trump. John Kasich, the same way. It's always been a thin veiling of fascism with conservatism, which they're not really conservative. They're fascist, and what they want is they want a republic alone. They do not want a democratic constitutional republic. They want a fascist republic is what they want. They do not want us voting for our representatives. They do not want us voting for our governors. Do they not want us voting for our presidents? They do not want us to do any of that. They don't want us to be voting for people who are going to select judges. They want to do all of that themselves, and they want their power structure to determine that they get to decide that for us in this republic. That's how they want to do it. That's
so I have a little different view of it than you.
Go ahead.
do.
Yeah, go ahead.
My view of it is there's two factions. Neither of them are good, and they're both pretty close. But there's outright fascists, which is most of them, who I do believe you're absolutely right, who want to do harm and who don't want there to really be voting at all. And then I believe there are what I would call, and this is where I put Mitt Romney. And again, this doesn't mean I'm saying anything nice about him. I think he's a royalist. I believe he's more of the, that some people, those with education, money, whatever, are better than others, and should have much more say in our society. And we leave whatever other scraps there are for everybody else. I don't believe he's the kind of fascist Trump is, where he wants to go after specific groups of people or, jail, so it's, I mean, these are very thin lines between them. I'm not saying he's some terrific guy. I'm just saying, I think he likes democracy the way democracy was 30, 40 years ago.